Yeah, so you put it just up and down.
So now. Have kept you for this long, but we are now ready to go. Sijui kama mko tayari. Leto ndio huwa anatupa hiyo signal, simuoni hapa leo, nani ndio? Asante. So mkiwa tayari tunaweza tukaanza. Are you ready? Na asanteni, kwanza ni wakaribishe nyote hapa Chui House. Na nishukuru sana ya kwamba tulianza mwaka hapa Chui House Januari tarehe 27 tukianza hii safari, na mulikuwa nasi hapa wanahabari wote tukianza hiyo safari. Nakumbuka siku hiyo ndio ilikuwa siku ya kwanza kumkaribisha His Excellency Mheshimiwa Rigathi Gachagua, the second deputy president after the November impeachment. Tukaungana hapa Januari. Sasa leo nina furaha sana kumkaribisha hapa tena His Excellency Rigathi Gachagua, karibisha His Excellency Kalonzo Musyoka, ndugu yangu Mheshimiwa Linturi, Mheshimiwa JB Muturi na viongozi wa upinzani, the United Opposition, hapa kwenye Chui House, ambako leo tunataka tufunge mwaka tukiwa pamoja, na vile vile tukichukua nafasi hii kuzungumzia masuala mbalimbali, masuala nyeti yanayohusu wa Kenya, na vile huu mwaka umekuwa na kule tunaenda mwaka mpya. Na tuchukue nafasi hii pia kuwatakia Wakenya wote Jamhuri Day nzuri kesho wakisherekea, na vile vile Christmas njema na mwaka mpya. Hii itakuwa our end of year address na Wakenya kabla we break for Christmas na kwenda sehemu mbalimbali za taifa kusherekea na familia zetu na watu wetu. Tushukuru sana all our supporters across the country na Wakenya wote wale tumetembea pamoja mwaka huu. Na sasa kwa kimombo nitasoma ile statement yetu tuko nayo, alafu nitaalika vinara wa vyama vyetu vya United Opposition vile vile waweze kusema na Wakenya na kuwatakia Christmas njema. So if you are ready, we'll proceed to now give our official statement on this 11th of December, on the eve of Jamhuri Day, where Kenyans are preparing to celebrate 62 years of Jamhuri tomorrow. And Kenyans are also preparing for Christmas after tomorrow. Many will be traveling. And we want to say that 62 years of Jamhuri, defending our assets, defending our dignity, is the theme of our message today to our fellow Kenyans as we celebrate Jamhuri. And we have put together a joint Jamhuri Day address by the United Opposition, which is the government in waiting. We will be hearing from the government, the broad-based government, tomorrow. And we wanted to speak to Kenyans before tomorrow. Today we gather not simply to mark a date on the calendar, but to stand in solemn witness to the blood, the courage, and sacrifice that built this republic 62 years ago. On 12th of December 1963, Kenya shook off the shackles of foreign rule and took her first step into self-determination. A year later, on December 12, 1964, we declared ourselves a republic, a nation of our own, led and defended by the sons and daughters of this soil. This day is not ceremonial formality. It's the crown jewel of our sovereignty as a nation. It is a day to reflect on the struggles, the sacrifices, and the victories of those who came before us. The Kapenguria Six, Dedan Kimathi, Jaramogi Oginga Odinga, Piogamo Pinto, Wambui Otieno, J.M. Kariuki, Koitalel Arap Samoei, Mekatalili Wamenza, and countless unnamed heroes across every community: Luo, Kamba, Luya, Kikuyu, Masai, Meru, Embu, Somali, Mijikenda, and all communities in our country. They believed, they fought, they bled, and some died so that we might inherit this land, this republic, this dignity. Fellow Kenyans, independence was never a gift. It was earned through blood, sweat, and relentless courage. Forests became battlegrounds, towns became prisons, schools became sites of resistance. Independence was bought with sacrifice, and every story, every name, every life lost, a lesson for today. We must never forget that the Republic belongs to the people, and it is our sacred duty to defend it. And yet, 62 years later, that sacred inheritance is under threat. National assets like Safaricom, Kenya Pipeline, KCB, JKIA have been pawned, mismanaged, and sold without transparency, without public participation, and without regard for the law and the constitution of our republic. These are not mere businesses. They are the backbone of our economy, the gateways of our sovereignty, and the pillars of our republic. Every transaction that does not include the people, for the people, undermines them and is an affront to our history. Look at the facts. Safaricom, our national crown jewel, had 15% of its shares sold at a fraction of its true value. Kenya Pipeline, the lifeline of our energy sector, is also facing the same threat. JKIA, our gateway to the world, has been compromised in management decisions favoring profit over national security. And KCB, a pillar of financial system, has been manipulated to benefit a few insiders. This is not economic reform. This is international neocolonialism, a quiet auctioning of our sovereignty. Fellow Kenyans, the courts have intervened on Safaricom, on KPC, on JKIA, and we have just received good news that the court orders have been issued against the opaque US-Kenya health deal that was signed recently without any public participation. But the intention by this nefarious regime was clear: a systematic, step-by-step erosion of our sovereignty. This is neocolonialism by insiders, a form of recolonization disguised as policy, defended with silence and apathy. We cannot allow or entertain this. Sovereignty is not symbolic. It's a sacred and constitutional duty. From the peaks of Mount Kenya to the shores of Lamu, from Lake Victoria to the plains of Narok, every Kenyan has a stake. The Republic is ours, and we will defend it with courage, with unity, and with vigilance. Every pipeline sold, every share disposed, every asset compromised is a betrayal of the generations who fought for our freedom. We call on every citizen, every institution, every civil society organization, and every community to rise up. Protect our pipelines, our airports, our companies, our financial institutions, and demand accountability. Defend our sovereignty. Let no one mistake silence for consent. We must defend our assets, our minerals, like the gold in Migori, and Kakamega, and Busia, that are now under invasion, to restore dignity and reclaim our republic. Most significant, we must defend our multi-party democracy that is now under existential threat from this rogue regime. We witnessed in the recently concluded shambolic 27th November 2025 by-elections that the chairman of IEBC, and I was very surprised on Monday, I think the 8th, listening to Chairman Ethicon saying that elections cannot be stolen in Kenya. It's an impossibility. Is he a stranger in Jerusalem? This position has already been contradicted by very credible observers who participated in these by-elections, including the Kenya National Human Rights Commission. We heard from them. The indictment was harsh in terms of how IEBC failed to conduct these elections properly. We have also heard from ELOG. They also returned a very harsh verdict. And both have said, and many others, that including the Law Society of Kenya, and we must thank them for this, that the just concluded by-elections were not free and fair. They were heavily rigged in favor of state-sponsored candidates, and they were tainted by violence, mostly from goons, state-sponsored goons, and backed by the police, intimidation, and corruption. We are demanding immediate action against perpetrators of these electoral offenses, like in the case of Malava, and I think we have our candidate here, the Honorable Panyako here, who underwent serious terror in terms of violence by goons and state-sponsored gangs. There were leaders who are known, who led the goons, who participated in organizing, in financing these goons, and the violence that was visited, particularly in Malava and in Bere. These two were the hottest targets of this system because of the political implications that would confirm a win in Bere for the United Opposition, that the mountain is gone. A win in Western for the United Opposition, that Western is out of the reach of this regime. We are demanding that those who participated, including leaders like Nabina Bwera, the MP for Lugari, and we did issue a statement on the eve of that by-election with my brother Kalonzo Musyoka and Rigiji. We warned that the gangs were being unleashed, and in Malava, Nabina Bwera was going to lead the goons. And we were on the ground with Honorable Panyako. We saw Nabina Bwera leading these goons. We saw Stanley Livondo leading the goons. We saw former CS Sports, Rashid Echesa leading the goons. We saw Esther Muhanda, Women Rep Kakamega, distributing relief food, mattresses, blankets. All these are documented, and PSs, Beatrice Inyangala and others. These are people who are known. Reports have been made of IEBC to the police. What we are demanding is action, that all these leaders be held to account. And IEBC has the powers to call off an election because of violence, where there were deaths like in Kaspul, 2 people died. In Chwele, 1 person died. Many were maimed, vehicles burned. They had the powers to call off this election, but they did nothing. They have the powers to actually suspend anyone who participated in this perpetration of violence, including barring them in participating in future elections and barring them, recommending them being barred from holding public office in future. This is how we are going to tame these ugly scourge of violence in our elections. Because under Article 81, where there is violence, you cannot say there's been free and fair election in the face of intimidation and corruption. So we are demanding that that action be taken. And we are also, as we had announced before, looking at taking action against the chairman himself and the CEO Marjan. The United Opposition therefore pledges that national assets belong to the people. They will never be sold without the consent of the people of Kenya, including Safaricom. Sovereignty and constitutional rule are not negotiable. This is what our forefathers fought for. This is why we're celebrating Jamhuri Day tomorrow. Citizens and institutions must uphold accountability, transparency, and constitutionalism. We will resist attempts to diminish our republic through Rutopreneurship, Ruto-bottomship, and Rutoism. As we end, we know that after Jamhuri tomorrow, the nation will be preparing for Christmas. But it's going to be a very bleak Christmas for many Kenyans because of the economic situation in this country. Many families can hardly put food on the table. Many with pay slips are depressed. They have nothing to take home for Christmas. And we also have many who are facing drought up north, Mandera, Wajir, Garissa. And this is a situation that we are now demanding that even as we go to Christmas, Kenya is facing serious drought. Yet this regime chose to actually use relief food like beans, rice that they were distributing to bribe voters in rain-rich areas like Kakamega, where it rains almost every day and we have enough food. This is what they were using. Relief food that should have gone to northern Kenya came to western Kenya, went to the mountain and other areas where we had elections. We also had non-food items like blankets, mattresses being distributed by CSs, PSs, and officials of this government, including letters of appointment being distributed by the Prime Cabinet Secretary in public at rallies to woo voters. What we are saying is that this was a shameful thing for the government to do. It was irresponsible because those families who are facing the disaster of drought are the ones who need this support, which they are not receiving. So we are calling for urgent and immediate support by both the national and county governments, and we urge county governments to reallocate their budgets to address the urgency of now, particularly because of the drought. And we're also calling upon the international community to come in so that the affected families, affected counties and communities can receive the support. We are also urging that Parliament prioritizes comprehensive legislative framework for disaster risk management. And before I left the Ministry of Devolution and Special Programs, we had already proposed the disaster risk management bill that was before the House. This bill is currently undergoing mediation through a committee of both houses, and we are urging that the same be prioritized and be fast-tracked because it has all the mechanisms required to improve coordination between national government, the county governments, and international players in disaster risk management. In spite of these early warning mechanisms put in place by NDMA and Meteorological Department, this government has failed up to now as we speak, and we've heard the cry of the people of Mandera and other counties to put in place remedial measures such as early animal offtake to cushion particularly the pastoralist communities who are facing drought now against heavy losses of their livestock, because as we speak they are losing a lot of livestock, and God forbid if we lose any lives this Christmas. This is as a result of the biting drought, and we are also demanding that the money that they have been splashing all over, they cannot say the government has no money to start this animal offtake, to cushion these families when they have been splashing millions and millions on these by-elections. So we demand immediate action to avert any further losses of livestock or lives of our fellow Kenyans. Fellow Kenyans, finally, on this 62nd Jamhuri Day, we honor the past, we confront the present, and we will remain united and vigilant and the united opposition to protect the future. Independence was hard-won. The Constitution was a gift of the second liberation. Today, we defend both with courage, conviction, and unity. Kenya shall not be sold. Kenya shall not be auctioned. Kenya shall not be colonized by outsiders and insiders and their cronies. We thank you all for coming to listen to us. May God bless our republic, and may we take this opportunity to wish you all a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. And I would like to invite my colleagues to also wish Kenyans a Merry Christmas and say a few words. His Excellency, Dr. Stephen Kalonzo Musyoka. Karibu, karibu.
Well, thank you. We stand, of course, firmly in support of what has just been read. And I know even our colleagues who are not here with us today are part of the statement. Unless to begin to say that united opposition is not indeed united. We are all in solidarity.